So hopefully you guys have seen the mid-season finale, episode 5 of book 2, because if you haven't, then turn off this video, head over to the Stars app and come back to this, because I'm talking all things about the mid-season finale of book 2, Tariq's chess game, and finally we may see an endgame to Tasha's case. So welcome back to MovieBot and let's talk about episode 5. So as I said, hopefully all of you have seen episode 5, which is a mid-season finale for book 2. So if you haven't, then this is just a spoiler warning, because I will be talking everything about what happened. So make sure you've seen the episode. But if you like the spoilers, or if you like watching my review and recap beforehand, because I know some of you do, then fasten your seatbelts, because it really was a good episode. But if you're new to the channel, welcome to MovieBot, and if you haven't done so already, remember to smash the subscribe button. But with that being said, I want to go straight in with the review and recap, and I will be giving my thoughts in general later on in tomorrow's video, especially after I've rewatched the episode. But this episode kicks off with Tasha's dream, Tariq's birthday, and it was either going to be Tariq's or Tasha's dream, and we found out later on it was Tasha's dream. And this really set up the sequence for what was to come later on in the episode, especially when Tariq went to Raina and Ghost's grave. And I'm going to talk all about what happened at the graveyard later on, so make sure you stick around till the end of the video. But let's talk about Tariq first, because there's a lot I want to talk about. But when Tariq was picked up by Kane, notice how Monet didn't tell him shit. All she wanted him to do was pick him up and drop him off. That's really all that Kane is good for, which is taking orders. Tariq is really the son that Monet has always wanted, like we found out later on in the episode. And he sees Ramirez after Monet shut him down just to prove a point to Diana, and I'll come to Diana's speech to Monet later on as well. But Tariq is smart. He knows why Ramirez is there, and he knows that Monet is smashing Ramirez, and I don't think Kane realizes this. And Tariq realizes how stupid Kane is, and he's all muscle and no brains, and that's why Monet has him playing this position. And Tariq later on in the episode, when he was speaking to Braden explaining who the Tejadas were, described Kane as the rook on the chessboard, and this kid is more like Ghost than he even knows himself. Notice how he said to Braden, the less he knows the better. Who used to say the exact same thing? Ghost. But when Tariq was explaining who the Tejadas were using the chessboard, he described Kane as the rook. For those that don't know, the rook only moves in a straight line or sideways, and it can't jump over other pieces, and that pretty much sums up Kane in a nutshell. And he moves how Monet wants him to move, which is in a straight line, and he'll never be able to jump over anyone else. And Monet wants Tariq to find out what Drew's been getting up to at Stansfield, but we find out later on that this was all a test for Tariq anyway, which he passed with flying colours, because Monet gave that speech to Diana to find out more information from Tariq, and this was all a test. But he didn't give up any information to Diana, and Monet respects this. Monet actually respects how loyal Tariq is to her family, especially Drew and Diana. Tariq could have easily snitched on Drew, easily have gotten into Diana's pants that night at the party, but Monet respects Tariq because she realizes what a smart kid she has working for her, and that's why she tells Kane to give Tariq his piece. And as I said, he does what he's asked because he's just a rook, and Monet gives him that piece because sooner or later Tariq would have realized that his was missing after Diana took his original. And I'm going to come to Tasha's case in just a moment, Davis, Maclean, Tameika, and the ending we saw. But I just want to talk about Braden and Riley, because we saw Saxe telling Riley just to observe, get information, but we know she just wasn't going to observe. She literally badgers Braden all episode for information on Tariq, and he even clocks onto this, but Braden doesn't give Riley anything. And some questioned his loyalty towards Tariq and said that he may be a weak link but not Braden. I think Braden really will be loyal, and I'm going to touch on his loyalty in later on in the video as well. But sooner or later he'll see what Riley is, or Tariq will actually make Braden see what she is, especially near the end of the episode when we saw Braden break into Tariq and Braden's room and take the stash of pills from the hidden compartment, and the only person that's been spending a lot of time in their room is Riley. So I reckon she's going to take the heat for this, and I've spoken about how Tariq could flip the script on Saxe and get her working for him instead in this video, and I still think it's a possibility, especially after this episode. And just a quick one on Drew, because he said to Tariq that everybody knows in his family that he's gay and it's not a secret, but he really is pissed when Zeke's basketball teammate bumps him off at the party. And this isn't the last we've seen from this, because those of you who have been following me for a while know I've been talking about deadly consequences from Drew's character description in a few of my previous videos. So this one's just a one to park for a minute, because I'm sure it'll be playing a part later on in the series, and I actually think that Monet could give the order to kill Drew's boyfriend. But you guys know I'll be breaking down key storylines later on in the week as well, and this will be one of them. But let's talk about Tasha's case, because wow, the ending scene that we got between Cooper Saxe and Davis Maclean, we really know why Davis Maclean has an undefeated record. He really is ruthless. But this all kicked off when we first saw Saxe heading over to Tameika's. But a quick one before we talk about the case, because Notice how Saxe is wearing these black gloves. When have we ever seen Saxe wear these gloves? We haven't, and I genuinely think this could be foreshadowing him having to get his hands dirty later on in the series and having to kill someone. But anyway, we knew he'd try and stop Tameika from taking the stand, but we all knew Tameika is straight as a book. She's not dirty like Saxe, and she tells Saxe she's not holding anything back. She's going to tell them that he was there at truth and someone saw him, and if that does happen, then it is really all about putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But we know that the puzzle has been put together later on, and I'm going to come to that in just a moment. But when Tariq and Saxe meet up, Tariq really did throw it back at Saxe and told him that Tameika knowing about him being at truth is a you problem, but really it's Tariq's problem as well. And Tasha tries to get Maclean to stop Tameika from taking the stand but fails because she can't stop her from taking the stand unless she gives Maclean a goddamn good reason not to. So she sends Tariq to do it instead, and I never once thought that Tameika was going to get popped in this episode just because of the teaser that we got for episode 5. We knew that Davis Maclean would come barging in, and he did that just after Tariq told Tameika that he saw Cooper Saxe at truth at the time of the murder. So now Tameika knows that the witness that has Saxe by the balls is Tariq, and all of a sudden the pieces of the puzzle are being put together. But when Maclean came barging in, we knew when these two sat down, these are the two best lawyers sitting down, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm going to come to that Davis Maclean and Cooper Saxe scene in just a moment. But this scene where we saw Tariq in the teaser, we were wondering what this could be, and it was just him having a close call being seen by Davis Maclean at Tameika's. But anyway, when Tariq was at his party, Riley tried to spike Braden's drink, and it was just to get more information from Braden, but that cup ended up being in Tariq's hand instead, and he ended up getting spiked instead. And this is where he zoned out. First with Lauren, and I really thought that his gun would fall out of his pocket into Braden's brother's room and he would eventually be caught with it and be kicked out of Stansfield, but it looks like they're going to go in another direction with him stealing Braden's stash of pills. And Braden's loyalty will really be tested once he finds out that his brother was the one who stole them. I did mention a while ago that Braden's loyalty will be tested sooner or later, and him and his brother don't exactly see eye to eye. So his brother stealing his pills is setting up something between them in the next episode or two, that's for sure. But back to Tariq's drink getting spiked, and Riley knows what happened when Braden handed his cup to Tariq, and she went into his room herself to get his live location. And when she did this, I knew exactly that Saxe was going to be following him, and it was just a matter of where he went next, and he went to the graveyard. Tariq was really zoned out here, and I don't think he even remembered that he went to the graveyard the following day. But what was more important was what was said when he was there. He basically said he shot Ghost, and Saxe got all of this on camera. Now Leopard never changes his spots, and when Maclean walked into Saxe's office, he told him that he stopped Tameika from testifying because he was going to put this all on Saxe after finding out he was there at truth at the time of the murder, and he wanted Saxe to drop all the charges against Tasha. And he said Tasha wanted to take the plea, and he knows why. He plays the recording of Tariq admitting he shot Ghost, and I can't believe what I witnessed next. Davis Maclean and Cooper Saxe agreeing a deal where Davis Maclean gets his win by getting his client off the hook. He remains undefeated, and Saxe gets someone for the murder of Ghost anyway, and that's Tariq, and he's gonna get the needle if this happens. But what's more shocking was, actually I wouldn't even class it as shocking because this is the side of Davis Maclean we always knew he had. He's ruthless, and he does whatever it takes to win. He's willing to get Tasha off the hook by giving her son the needle instead. And that's episode 5, the mid-season finale, and holy shit can I not wait for episode 6. But one thing's for sure, Tariq is definitely not getting the needle. I don't think so anyway, but I'm going to talk all about key storylines in the week, breaking it down into detail. So let me know what you thought about this episode. Drop me your thoughts down below. Will Tariq St Patrick get the needle for killing Ghost? I don't think so. There's going to be more twists and turns to come, that's for sure. So drop me your thoughts down below, and I'll be back tomorrow breaking down the teaser for episode 6. And it's going to be returning in December for those that didn't know. I'm sure it's December 6th. But anyway guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.